Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering, to those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
I think we have the college basketball title futures. UConn's number one.
I really like Houston. I'd have them winning it all, but you can't be giving Drake jerseys. What is wrong with you?
Maybe the Drake curse is stronger in college basketball.
How long has he been riding with Kentucky?
He wore an Alabama jersey and Saban retired.
The Odds Couple with Rob Fisher, Lang Whitaker, John Roser, and CJ Hurt live Thursdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Ben Doyle right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you weren't expecting a drama-free offseason with the University of Memphis men's basketball program, because it was an interesting story posted DailyMemphian.com yesterday after we got out of the studio. It's from Memphis beat writer, our pal Partha Patyai, DailyMemphian.com. It's about Joe Cooper, former Memphis basketball player, stepson of former Memphis basketball player Rodney Newsom, who was a teammate of Penny Hardaway with the Tigers back in the day. He had some interesting comments that he gave to Parth. Two sides to every story, but, surface level, they don't look that great. I'll walk you through it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Jessica Benson's going to join me. She, of course, is the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. That's 8 o'clock weekdays right here on Grind City Media. She'll pop in studio in a minute. I'll talk to her about Memphis basketball and other things. Jessica Benson will be here in just a bit. When we finish talking to her, we'll take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know. At which point, we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories, among them Major League Baseball. Played a game at Rickwood Field in Birmingham last night for the first time ever. Cardinals beat the Giants 6-5. Reggie Jackson ended up being the star of the night. Hall of Famer was asked a question during the pregame show. Gave an amazing answer about what it was like to play in Birmingham in the 1960s. We'll play the clip for you. We'll do that in about 40 minutes. It's official now. JJ Redick, new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll spend some time on that in just a bit. Oklahoma City Thunder, they got better yesterday. Traded Josh Giddey to Chicago for Alex Caruso. Looks like another win for Sam Presti. Give you the details on that trade a little later on in the show. The NCAA tournament is probably on the verge of expansion. It's remains one of the biggest conversations in college sports this weekend. Heading into this weekend, it's coming. The expansion, maybe to 76 teams, probably sooner rather than later. Some folks hate it. Others are actually in favor of it. I'll tell you where I stand a little later on in the show. And rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. Famed, acclaimed actor, died yesterday at the age of 88. Lots of amazing roles. I'll tell you the one that first pops into my head. We'll do that during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's Carryout, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I wanted to start with Tiger basketball today because there was an interesting story that published from Parth Upadhyay at dailymemphian.com yesterday after we left the studio. It's about Joe Cooper, the now former University of Memphis basketball player, stepson of Rodney Newsom, former Memphis basketball player, teammate of Penny Hardaway under Larry Finch back in the 90s. Bennett, did you have a chance to read the story, dailymemphian.com?
I did read the story, yes.
Interesting comments, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So the backstory here, Joe Cooper, again, played a limited role at Memphis last season, but he was on the team, and, you know, he's a legacy student athlete in the sense that his stepfather not only also attended the University of Memphis, but played basketball at the University of Memphis, again, was teammates with Penny Hardaway. So he enrolls at the University of Memphis with the welcoming of Penny Hardaway and describes it more or less as a dream come true. Like, man, stepdad was a Tiger. I grew up caring deeply about the Tigers, and now I'm going to get to wear that uniform. I'm going to get to be a Tiger, right? What's better than that story?
No, that's great.
It's a great story, and that's about where the great stuff ends, apparently. Didn't play much at Memphis, according to himself. Didn't even practice much in the fall semester, just sort of sat on the sidelines and watched it go. And he felt like he was not really a part of the program, not really a part of anything. Says he had no relationship whatsoever with Penny Hardaway. They barely even spoke. So you read that part of it, and it just kind of comes across, or at least it can come across, like a disgruntled player. Like, hey, this is a story as old as time. Guy enrolls at a university with aspirations and big ideas about, you know, helping his hometown university accomplish this and accomplish that while he's playing this and taking this many shots. And suddenly you get there and it ain't going any way the way you thought it would go. So now, after you're leaving the program, you look back on it and you don't have good wishes, good thoughts, good anything. On some level, that part of it comes across like that. But it's the other quotes that I think are more troubling. I don't want to speak for Joe Cooper. I'll let him speak for himself. When Parth asked him about the whole experience, here's what he said. Quote, "It was kind of heartbreaking. Just because you're like a kid going to live out this dream, then you get into it, and it was, to be honest, the worst experience I've ever experienced. And the only thing that kept me going is the city and the fans, so that's the only reason I would have stayed, because sometimes you just have to make sacrifices, and just me seeing people smile, that's what kind of kept me going. But just actually being in the program, nah, it wasn't a dream come true. I don't know how to put it into words, but for a kid growing up in Memphis, it was kind of heartbreaking to go out there and experience that." Tough quote, right? You wouldn't. He says he wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't wish that for him. Again, to have your dream turn into a nightmare, that's not fun for anybody. I don't care what your dream is. If you think you dream of something, you get there, you think, man, this is what I always wanted. Then you get there and it could not be going worse, right? That's an awful experience. But again, just that quote alone could come across as just disgruntled player, right? Okay, you went to Memphis, you didn't get to play much, and now you're leaving, and, you know, now you look back on it not so fondly. A million people have that story. I'll continue with the quotes. He said, "Me and Penny didn't have a relationship. We didn't really talk. It just seemed like it was something he had against me from my viewpoint. I didn't practice during the fall semester. I was sitting on the sidelines most of the time, and obviously when I got there, I showed I was good enough, and there are other factors that people don't even know about that impacted me when I got out there." Talks about finally he did get to play a little bit, and, you know, he thought he performed well on those circumstances, but wasn't given a real opportunity at Memphis to be what he could have been or what he expected to be. Again, these are the quotes that could just come across as a, you know, disgruntled former player who didn't get a lot of playing time. But he goes on to explain, and this is, I think, the part that, if you're a Memphis fan who wants this to go well, turn around the Penny Hardaway story to end the way we all hoped it would end when it started, these are the types of quotes I think that become more problematic. It's not just that he and Penny didn't have a real relationship, because although I that's concerning, considering this young man is the stepson of somebody you called a teammate once upon a time. Like, famously, I'm comparing weird things now, but, you know, when Kobe Bryant died, one of the first people to, like, jump on social media and was like, I was just texting with him this morning. Do you remember who it was? It was Shaquille O'Neal's son. Now, Shaq and Kobe famously had a falling out.
Right.
And Shaq and Kobe, you know, I don't think were best friends, although they seem to have reconciled later in life, at least, you know, got to a better place. My point is this, though. Like, Kobe Bryant had a relationship with Shaquille O'Neal's kid, and he wasn't playing with for Kobe Bryant.
Right.
He was just like, yo, that's Shaq's kid. And if Shaq's kid ever needs me, man, I'm going to be there for him. And that sort of popped into my mind last night. I know Penny and Rodney Newsom aren't Shaq and Kobe. I'm not comparing it, but, like, that struck me as odd. This is not just somebody you brought to campus, somebody you enrolled, somebody you put a uniform on. It is like your teammate's son. And according to the young man, like, you didn't even talk to him, had no relationship with him. Again, two sides to every story. That's important, right? But, like, that stood out to me as not the greatest in the world. And then he went on to explain that, you know, there is a deadline to enter the transfer portal.
Yep.
And this is the part that I think if you're a Memphis fan, you just ask, like, ooh, what is that about, right? So there's a deadline to get into the transfer portal, and according to Joe Cooper, he was considering entering it, the transfer portal, and other coaches were calling, wondering if he was going to. And his story is, out of respect for Penny, I didn't feel comfortable just jumping in the transfer portal before I had a chance to talk to him to see what his plans were for me. He says everybody had their exit meetings. I never got one. You know, the other players would come in, meet with Penny, and he would say, hey, yeah, I think you're a part of the future, or not, or however those conversations go. But Joe Cooper's point is other people got those conversations. I never got one. And when I reached out to him, called him, texted him, I got nothing in return. And so I'm sitting there wondering, like, do I enter the transfer portal? I'd like to talk to my coach first, but he won't return a text message or a phone call. And now he's in a situation where he found out, according to him, if you take him at his word, and I have no reason not to, he said he found out he was no longer a member of the Memphis basketball program. Same time you found out, same time I found out, just through the media, without ever talking to his head coach. Does that bother you?
I mean, sure. I think that he obviously, as someone that was a part of a team, deserves an explanation. I'm just being completely honest. I would love to hear Penny's side of this story, because I want to give all due respect to Joe. Like,
of course.
Because that sounds like a tough situation to go to. Again, with all due respect, he's a walk-on this team. And I'm not saying walk-ons deserve less attention than other guys on the roster or anything like that. I'm just saying, to me, reading this and the quotes come across a little bit like, hey, I got in a game last year and scored 24 points and people loved me and the crowd was cheering me, and, like, now it's time. He even mentioned, like, maybe I get a scholarship and be on scholarship here in Memphis, or else I'm going to leave. Like, he said that. He said he was going to. And so, to me, some of it comes across a little like sour grapes. Just reading the thing.
And I hope I made that clear.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did. I think it does. Now, him saying that the coach never talked to him, if that's true, then that's not great. Right. I mean, that's your coach. Like,
I don't care. And I think you and I are mostly on the same page here. I don't care that you didn't like your role.
Right.
There's a million basketball players who don't like their role.
Right.
At the University of Memphis, at the University of Tennessee, with the Memphis Grizzlies. Every basketball team in the country at any level has somebody who doesn't like their role. You ready for this? Every baseball team in the country, from age 5 to, Major League Baseball, every team has people who don't like their role. I'm with you. I'm less interested in that part of it. I thought I should have been playing more. Okay, well, I don't care. No. I don't really care about that. All right. The part that I do find troubling on some level, only because it seems to reinforce this narrative that, like, what's going on over there? It just sort of reinforces that. Is he says that when I couldn't even get my coach to call me back, to text message me. That would be concerning.
Yeah. Now, the other part about him trying to get an answer because he's trying to leave and go to another school. That's another part that I just have a little bit of trouble buying because, dude, I mean, if you're on some kind of deadline and you're trying to get another, reach out to an assistant, reach out to somebody else. At that point,
like if I were advising the young man, I would have said, hey, I can appreciate and actually respect that you don't want to go into the transfer portal without talking to Penny Hardaway, but the deadline's tomorrow, and if he hasn't called you back yet or texted you back yet, you know what you need to do.
Right.
That's where I think that was a misstep by him. So, like, part of his story is, and I don't mean it like this, but like, poor me, I missed the deadline. Well, you missed the deadline. You didn't have to.
Right.
I can respect you not wanting to jump in on the first day. Well, let me talk to my coach. And on day 7, well, let me talk to my coach. On 3 weeks in, portal still open? Yeah, but I still haven't talked to my coach. At some point, if he ain't calling you back, I ain't waiting around to make plans with you anymore. Like, you know, if I text a buddy and I say, hey, you want to get a tea time at 8 o'clock in the morning? And it's now 9 o'clock at night, and I texted them 7 hours ago, and they ain't texting me back, I'm just going to go ahead and assume we ain't playing golf at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? Right. So, like, that's one where, yo, man, I'm sorry that you ended up in this situation, and it sucks if what you're saying is true, that your coach wouldn't even call you back or text message you back. That's not ideal. But at some point, that's your answer. Yeah. Hey, coach, what are your plans for me? Not to even call me back? All right, well, then I better get in the transfer portal. So that's the two things that I think reinforce these not so great narratives connected to the program. There's one quote, and then just the lack of communication with a now departing player. Every situation's different, but I saw an interview with Coleman Hawkins the other day. Mm-hmm. He's the young man who was a player at Illinois and just signed a $2 million NIL deal with Kansas State.
Yep.
And he was interviewing with somebody, and they asked him, hey, so you're Brad Underwood, your coach. He used to be at Kansas State, and now he's at Illinois now, but he just coached you. Now you're going to where he used to be. Did you talk to him about it? He's like, oh yeah, I talked to Coach Underwood all the time about it, and he said it was great. Like it was no bad feelings. Like he wished me luck and like told me all the great things about Kansas State. So like here's Coleman Hawkins, who's a really good college basketball player, like All-American candidate.
Yep.
He's leaving Illinois, and he can still get his coach to call him back and say, oh yeah, Kansas State. Oh, you're gonna love it there. And you contrast it with this story, which is I couldn't even get Penny Hardaway to call me back or text message me. Again, if that's true, that's not ideal. And that, I think, reinforces a narrative of, what's that about? The other thing, and it's this quote exactly. Joe Cooper was asked about, just the whole season because they went from good to bad.
Right.
Missed the tournament. You had chemistry issues. Acknowledged by the coach. You had an academic scandal that we still don't know the depths of. All right? So he's just sort of talking about all this, and here's the quote. This is what he told Parth. It was just hard, man. Just the mental weight of being in that program and dealing with all that, scandals and egos and the character issues throughout the program. It was hard. It was always a weight anytime you walked into that gym. That quote concerns me. This is a young man who's like, man, we were there every day, and it's like, we got a scandal, a lot of egos, character issues. Keep in mind, some of Memphis's roster last season was quite literally people other schools didn't want. Said, you can't play here anymore. Naquan Tomlin was supposed to play at Kansas State. They said, you can't represent us anymore.
Yeah.
That's how he ended up at Memphis. There was another player who was headed to Alabama, got arrested, guns, weed. Alabama said, you can't come here. Not under these circumstances. Penny said, come on. So, young people make dumb decisions sometimes. I did as well. But like, you brought in some people who other universities said, based on, for lack of a better term, character issues, we don't want you here. It ain't a basketball problem. We love the basketball part of this, but the way you acted, can't come here. The way you acted, can't come here. They come to Memphis with welcome with open arms, and now you got a former Memphis player saying, man, we had scandals, egos, character issues throughout the program. It was hard. There was always a weight anytime you walked into that gym. As a Memphis fan, does that concern you? That's the way a Memphis player felt about his experience at the University of Memphis.
I mean, if I've taken for his word, yeah, it's concerning. At the same time, he also benefited from all of those issues in getting to play. The guy got to play and scored points, and now he's going to get a scholarship out of it. Whereas if all those issues wouldn't have happened, he would have never played and likely isn't getting a scholarship from another program. So, it is concerning to hear those quotes. I agree, but I still just go back to a little bit. It's given off a little bit of sour grapes.
I agree.
Me.
I agree with that.
Is.
I agree that there's some sour grape stuff in there. It sounds like that's the way it comes across. But there's also some legitimately like, ugh, that's not great.
I agree.
Stuff in there.
Yeah.
Again, two sides to every story. I never. This is never lost on me. If you and your wife had a disagreement this morning about something big or small, and you came in here and I said, Bennett, what's up? You look frazzled. And you said, man, just between us, here's what happened. The way you would tell that story would make me go, oh man, that sucks. I can't.
Yeah, right.
And if she did the exact same thing, your wife went to work and told, and they say, hey, Carrie, you look frazzled. What's going on? She said, just this morning, Bennett was. The way she would tell that story, you would both think you're telling the truth.
Yep.
And,
that's right.
And her story would sound favorable to her, and your story would sound favorable to you. Even sometimes, me and my wife will be discussing something.
Yeah.
And I'll say, and she'll, and it works both ways. I'll say, well, this is what happened, and she'll be like, do you really think that's what happened?
Right.
That is not what happened. And 5 minutes later, she'll say, well, what really happened? And I'll be like, do you really think that's the way that went down? That's not. So everybody has this weird version of events in their head that you interpret things. We just all do, and that's why I wouldn't want to. There's no way I'm coming on here 10 o'clock in the morning after reading this story and being like, Penny Hardaway sounds like, it's just, I don't know. I'd love to hear Penny's side of it. But again, the troubling part is that there is already a narrative connected to the program.
Yeah.
That it's like, God, it's just assistants in and out the door, scandal, every other year it feels like, chemistry issues every year it feels like, and now here's the latest one. Another player saying, man, you don't know what it was like to be over there, but I was, and it was hard, man.
Yep.
That's the part that I would be concerned about.
I agree too, and I know obviously we didn't get Penny's response to this story and what Joe had to say. He did go on a show, I believe yesterday, on a radio show, Tailor Made Sports, which is I think it's Memphis Shelby County Schools program, and he went on and did an interview with them, and he talked about
who did this interview?
Tailor Made Sports. Penny did.
Okay.
Penny Hardaway. Yeah, it's on YouTube. I saw it today. And he talks about last season and talks about he's probably friends with these guys, right?
I guess I don't know.
Anyways, he talks about last season, but he goes into a lot because we heard about his mom's health last year, and he goes pretty into detail about that situation and how it affected him this year. Again, he's not talking about the Joker, but I thought there was some really interesting stuff from him in that because he had never really elaborated on that a lot, and he does there. And I'm not saying it's an excuse for why everything went wrong last season for the Memphis basketball program, but I did think that his comments about how his mom's health affected him last season were very interesting and worth checking out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Like there's a million different angles to lots of different stories. And I'm sure on some level there's another side of this, and perhaps Penny will address it in a straightforward way someday. It's just that, and I don't mean this the wrong way, that's an excellent interview to get for Parth.
Yeah, for sure.
And
it was good reporting.
The quotes are incredible and worthy of a headline and a great conversation starter. And that's good beat reporting. That's good beat writing. I hope Memphis fans understand how lucky they are to have, at the very least, these two men covering that basketball program, Parth at the Daily Memphian, obviously Munns at commercialappeal.com. They are both excellent beat writers covering that program. Not every men's basketball program in the country has two full-time, daily publication, traditional media beat writers, right? But Memphis is lucky enough to have that. I hope the fans appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know as a fan and as somebody who follows that program, I read everything those guys do. I consume all of their work. They're terrific. So this is a wonderful story for Parth. He should be proud for being able to get this. What I was going to say is, though, I wish I didn't read a story like this. I just like to not.
Right, for sure.
I just like to not read stories like this. We had an off season where it felt like momentum was really building towards something good.
Yes.
We were having conversations
There's
about,
no doubt.
Is Memphis going to be in the top 25? Because Penny says, David Jones, 70% chance he's coming back. And the latest big things that we've had to digest as they pertain to Memphis basketball. I was like, nope, David Jones is gone. He ain't coming back. And now here's another former player saying, man, it was crazy over at that basketball program. Yeah. That's just, I'd rather not read that.
I agree. It's definitely like this year. I mean, it's literally, no matter what the roster looks like, you just got to see it, right? Yeah. Like I mean, it's as simple as they've just got to show it to you because of how you were burned last year and other seasons. So yeah. I was
just hoping for a drama-free June with Memphis basketball. I was too. And this is just a story. It's not like anybody got arrested or whatever. No. But it's just here's a young man who lived through it. He dreamed of being a Tiger. He was a Tiger, and he describes it as a terrible, heartbreaking experience. Just as somebody who cares about that program in school, I'd rather not see young people have that experience at the University of Memphis. But yes, I'm willing to be open-minded about it and listen to the other side if it's ever presented. Jessica Benson will be in studio next.
Mike did his favorite black films of all time. Mike, where we at?
If there's one movie I know every single line to, it is Coming to America.
There we go.
It is Coming to America. It can come on any time of any day, and I'm going to stop and watch at least 20 minutes of it.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Heart Royal Flush Tour 2024. November 14th, FedEx Forum. A journey through the hits and timeless classics. The iconic band returns with special guests. Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Tickets on sale now at heart-music.com. Heart with Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Produced by AEG Presents.
Looking for a full-court dining experience? Dribble over to Southland Casino Hotel, your ultimate gaming oasis in West Memphis. As a proud sponsor of the Memphis Grizzlies, we're inviting you to savor the flavors at our 8 incredible dining venues. Ignite Steakhouse is where culinary excellence gets grilled. Indulge in charcoal-grilled steaks and farm-to-table favorites, perfectly paired with wine or handcrafted cocktails. Enjoy an all-access buffet experience at the kitchens, or revel in comfort food and Southern classics at the Fry House. If casual is more your thing, sample the innovative fare at Seasons Cafe, while Chairman's Bar and Charred Oak Bourbon Bar serve up cocktails and live concerts every week. For those on the go, The Grind is your one-stop coffee shop with gourmet brews and grab-and-go goodies. And of course, we can't forget the Sports Bar and Grill, where you can catch all the Grizzlies action with the best pub fare in town. At Southland Casino Hotel, we've got the perfect dining experience for you, so come on down and ignite your taste buds today.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Look at the score. Look at the score he just did.
Hey, but look at the bench, though.
Look at number 3.
Right before I walked in the locker room, Danny Ainge pulled me to the side and said, hey, Tony Allen, come here. Let me give you a little basketball etiquette. When you're down 40, do not do an in-game windmill. It's just disgusting for the game.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. We have another edition. This will be the 3rd edition of the Debate Club. You guys are going to sell a shoe to Mr. Bennett Doyle, our producer over here.
Oh, yeah.
I saw these.
Go.
I've seen these.
I saw these on social media, too.
It's the perfect house shoe.
I know, right?
Like, yeah, it's not even a house shoe. I bet you they're really comfortable. You know, you heard of unisex. This is unifoot.
Oh, my God.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Bill Ford Tough Studio, and on Fridays, usually about 20 minutes into the show. Sometimes I'm later than I should be. Jessica Benson sits in studio. I'm sorry, I'm going to get you to your weekend later than I should have. I should go ahead, sing it.
Must have on that beat. Oh,
it's outrageous. The whole thing's
outrageous.
outrageous.
Just my whole life. No.
The whole thing is.
It is.
The whole thing's outrageous. Say,
yes.
Did you read Parr's story?
I did.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was good reporting, for one. Shout out Parth.
Yes.
Doing a great job. It's one of those things where I find stories like that always just interesting from a standpoint of someone who has reached a point in their journey or with this experience where they want to share that story, because a lot of people would not, for whatever reason. We're merging into different territory where more people are, though. Like when they feel aggrieved about something, they come out, they're open about it. There used to be like a fear of, well, if I complain about this, even outside of basketball world or just like work world,
right?
Like if I complain about this scenario that I felt was unfair towards me, I might not get another opportunity somewhere down the line, which I think is silly. Everyone should be able to say how they feel within that situation. I don't think it's ever going to be a great look that someone didn't get a text or a call from their coach to confirm if they were coming back or not. And like, I don't want this to come across as disrespectful to Joe Cooper, but it's going to, no matter what. He was a walk-on. Like if this was the star of the team, I might have a different. If this was David Jones explaining why he didn't come back to the University of Memphis and say it was the worst experience of my life, maybe we're having a different conversation. But the weight of it just didn't move me to a point where I felt like it was a needle mover. It was like an interesting anecdote in a story that we still don't quite know all the pages.
That's fair. And to your point, I was never a walk-on at anything, but I was a freshman baseball player on varsity in high school. And that was the first year that I ever didn't play in my whole life. Like from whenever I started playing baseball, 4, 5, 6, I always played. I was good enough to play. Good enough to not be on the bench my whole life. I got to high school and I made varsity as a freshman. That was an accomplishment in and of itself, but I didn't get to play. And it was heartbreaking. I understand what Joe Cooper was saying.
I still remember the name of the. I remember the name of the coach to this day, who was the first coach that benched me, which ultimately led to me not wanting to play basketball anymore. Which that's not the ultimate piece of it, but like I was on a club team and I had always been a star. I'd always been a starter. I'd always played some of the most minutes on the team, and suddenly I had a coach, and we didn't get along all that well, and he thought I was slow, and I was. But
well, that's the thing. I don't mean to imply because I don't think I should have been playing. I wasn't good enough at 14 years old to be playing against 18-year-olds.
My point was it hurt your feeling, like the human nature of it.
It was just not a fun experience.
No, and it's something that you're not used to.
I had never, like think about this. I've been playing baseball from, let's say, 5 to, and now I'm 14, 15 years old. I had never sat on a bench. Never. In anything. Soccer, I'm not trying to make it out like I was, I'm a podcaster. All right, I'm not trying to make it out like that, but I never sat on a bench.
Hey, don't just say a podcaster. You could be a head coach
of
the
Lakers.
Los Angeles Lakers
I might coach the Lakers someday.
You might want to have played at Duke and had a 15-year NBA playing career too. It might have helped.
And start my podcast with LeBron instead of Bennett. That was my big mistake.
Sorry, Bennett.
That was my big mistake.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know you could do a podcast with LeBron. I thought you had to do it with Bennett.
Well,
when we were going through the hiring process, I was like, give me Bennett. What are we talking about? But I didn't know LeBron was an option. I mean, listen, I'm happy you're here.
No.
But if I could have gotten LeBron to be my...
I don't know. Can LeBron give you the cinema knowledge that this guy gets? I don't think so.
I mean, I bet he could fake it.
Man, probably won't. If you wanted to be the head coach of the Lakers someday,
I bet he could make it up. So here's my point. This is a long way to make a point. That's the way I do it usually. That was a terrible experience. And you know why it was a terrible experience? It wasn't because necessarily anybody treated me poorly. I just didn't like not playing.
You know what's interesting, though? I think mine was a blended terrible experience because the coach did not communicate appropriately. I don't think the coach knew how to have hard conversations, right? Like I think if he had sat me down and explained, like it just happened. There was no conversation. I remember it happened, and it was worse. Not that we don't have to go through therapy on this, but like my best friend was visiting from Texas. Like my childhood best friend had moved from my neighborhood, moved to Texas. She was visiting. She came to a game, and I was so excited to play in front of her. And that was the game that it happened. So there were so many layers to it, and then there was no discussion after that, and that just became my new normal. And suddenly I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be a professional basketball player when I grow up. What am I going to be?
I remember that embarrassment as well. Like I was embarrassed to be on the bench because I had never been there. And I've never thought about this before. This might be therapy. But I'm having memories right now where I think I used to make up things like, oh yeah, I've got an elbow thing.
No.
That would be my rationalization for,
I went to the bathroom and cried.
Yeah, like I don't think I did that. But like I'd never been in a situation where my parents or my friends would come to watch me play and I'm not playing. So I think I was like, Oh yeah, arms hurt.
I'm doing well today.
Yeah, the truth is, I was 14 years old, like 120 pounds, and 18-year-olds were playing. You know,
Yes.
I belonged in the dugout.
Yeah.
But not playing made that a terrible
Right.
experience, even though nobody was like, I wasn't treated poorly. So I understand a lot of this sounds like, well, yeah, you wanted to play, you didn't get to play that much, and so it was a terrible experience. I get that. I don't like that, even if you're a walk-on. If you text your coach, you should get a text back.
I completely
that
agree.
part I don't
It's kind of
like.
this is.
Go ahead.
Oh, I can't. I was gonna.
Say it.
Walk-ons are important members of teams, so I don't want this.
I understand. You prefaced it. Walk-ons are important members
It's
of the
like
team, she said.
when you don't say hello to the person who's cleaning the building.
I do every day.
So do I.
Right.
And it's even better if you know their name and can have like a small
Don't
conversation.
take
That
it
might
too
be
far. Don't take it too
But my
far.
point being is like how you treat those who are doing service jobs around you. And I don't want to compare a walk-on on a college basketball team to like a service job.
I hear what you're
But
doing.
it's the bottom of the totem. It's just what it is. It's the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to the players on the roster.
I think it's important to. I think it's more important to acknowledge those people when you see them.
I do too.
I mean, you don't have to know
shows
their family history.
How you treat the lowest person on the totem pole is how you treat most people,
right?
In my opinion, or like your baseline. And
Right.
so, if you're not doing it for the walk-on, I agree with that.
Right.
Is my bottom line.
I understand. You agree that
I'm not saying Joe Cooper is
a custodian
cleaning the toilets of the Bill.
What kind
can I think of
what
it?
kind of custodian do you think he'd be?
I don't know.
Probably. He sounds
like a hard worker.
The quote, I get
a
it.
custodian's so good that one of his teammates would have seen him and said, "Hey, I think we've got a player."
I think so.
Who was it? Quinterly? Who
yeah,
said
John
was
Quinn.
it? Yeah.
And that was a little. That quote was a little strange too. Like JQ went to coach and said he needs to be playing.
Yes.
Whatever that means.
Yes.
So some of it's that. The two things. There are only two things that make me go, One is, how does your coach not call or text you back?
Mm-hmm.
I remember being at a coaching clinic a long time ago. Eric Musselman was there. This is before he even was the head coach at Arkansas or Nevada. I think he was.
Okay.
It was just maybe, I don't know. But one of the things he was talking to a bunch of coaches, I happened to be there, and he said, and I don't actually subscribe to this, but it hammers home the point. He said, there's no excuse ever to not return a text message or an email.
Yeah.
Like it's not that hard. It doesn't take that long.
I agree.
You should do that. Now, I actually don't, because I think text message, yes, and if I don't return a text message, it is almost always because I just missed it. I was asleep or occupied or something.
Do you ever not respond to a text message because it came in and you would have automatically responded to it, but you don't want to seem too eager that you were just standing on your phone or sitting around on your phone,
No,
so
I
you don't
play those
answer it
games.
immediately?
I feel like I'm too old for that.
It's not a game.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just a weird natural reaction that I have, and then I'll forget about the text message. So if I don't respond to it right when I see it, then I'm never responding to it, and then it's like 3 days later, and I have to text the person and say, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to
That's too
eagerly
much.
respond back to your
although
text."
I am aware, sometimes this will happen, and I go, man, should I have done that? And then I go, hey, what does it matter? This is
It
silly.
doesn't.
Right.
Like, at
but
all.
I'll text message somebody, and then I won't hear back for like 6 hours, and then they'll respond finally, and then I'll respond immediately.
Yeah.
So and you go, God, like they just sitting around 6 hours looking at my text message when in truth they were probably asleep or
had
or
things
playing
to
golf
do.
or doing like working anything. But
In a meeting.
I go, why should I respond to this person within seconds if they won't respond to me within
Mm.
hours? And then I go, well, that's stupid. Who cares?
Yeah, but then sometimes I don't want to respond immediately because that means they'll respond immediately because they're at their phone right then, and I'm not in the place where I can have the full conversation.
Okay, there's that.
So I like when it's spaced out more.
Yeah, So if I don't respond to a text, it is almost always because I just missed it or I got distracted.
Mine's
or,
I got distracted
or
and forgot about
or
it.
like I was drinking. There's a whole lot of things that could play into this.
Oh yeah,
that's how I feel about emails are different. This is where I part with Eric Musselman.
Okay.
Because our email addresses are just out there for the world. And anybody who wants to reach me, anybody on the planet who wants to reach me can. All right? Am I really obligated to respond to all of that? Just anybody? Just some rant? I don't think so.
I try.
I used to, I would say.
I try to respond to anyone in good faith. I don't respond to bad faith people.
Oh yeah. Like
that's out of it. I want to be clear.
Yeah, if somebody's like, so I was listening to this and I heard you say, and I really did, I really think it's crazy that
you had
think
quite a few of those
Alex
last week.
Sarr is the best, what I'm just like, delete. Like, I don't care what you think about Alex Sarr.
Yeah.
All right, it's my job to say what I think about Alex Sarr, and then just to move on to the next thing. I don't feel like I gotta have a conversation through email with somebody who wants to discuss Alex Sarr with me.
But my thing I always get stuck on is like young people from a asking advice standpoint.
Yes.
And I try so hard to answer every single person, whether it be in a DM or an email or however they found me. I can't have 100% success rate because it's just, you lose track and sometimes it doesn't happen, but I try.
I do try on
genuinely.
those. If it's really just somebody saying, hey, I'm young, I would not quite this. I'd like to, I want to do the things that you've done, right? I don't know how to say this.
I want to be like you, Gary, when I grow up.
It's not that exactly. But it's like, hey, you've done a lot of the stuff that I would like to do someday, whatever that means. And those I'll try to respond to. I won't say I've never missed one.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty good with that.
Right.
What would you do with this?
Okay.
Because I would keep these and I would go like, I'll get to that someday.
Yes.
And then I was like, I'm never gonna get to that. So just stop lying to yourself, delete it, and move on.
Okay.
What would you? I got an email like this one time. There's a person. I don't. As far as I know, this person doesn't work in media. Doesn't work in there's no sort of traditional background. And they said, hey, I'd just like to be on your show. I think I'd be great on your show, and I think we'd be great together, and
that's so bold.
I was impressed by the boldness of it, but also sort of like, why do you think this is? Is this going to work? Has this ever worked? Would this work? Does this
bold strategy?
like it's not like, hey, I'm hosting this successful thing or doing this successful thing. It was just like I think we would. It was just like, I think I'm funny and I think I'd be great on your show.
Huh. Prove it.
Yeah, I never responded.
I would not ask for them to prove it. That would kind of weird me out.
Well, yeah, it was just like, what? No, it's just like I just didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just still sitting there. I don't know.
I've had a couple of those where I've responded to people and then they take it one step further and they're like, great. I'm going to send you and I'm happy to look at resumes. I don't want this to get misconstrued because people send me their resumes or a cover letter to review. So I'm not talking about that. But someone who assumes that suddenly I'm in this position where I could hire them tomorrow.
Right.
I'm like, I would love to have that much power, but I don't.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I wanted to hire LeBron.
And look what happened.
Yeah. So
Come on, man.
I didn't.
It's okay, Bennett. I'd pick you up.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you appreciate it.
Yeah. There's going to be a place for you.
You, me, and CJ can talk about movies all summer long.
Good.
There's going to be a place for you. All right.
Have fun, Gary.
So those are the emails. That's how we handle emails. Now back to the Joe Cooper thing. The thing that I think you should respond to a text message from a player. Period. I just do. I don't know that there's not
that many.
I don't know that there's.
So you're not a football coach.
I know. I don't know that there's a great rationalization. If somebody were to ask the question, again, we're taking this at.
Why didn't you answer this text?
If Penny Hardaway was sitting right here right now, and mics are off and we're just talking, I was like, hey, I just read the quotes. Did the young man really text and call you multiple times to try to figure out, and you just ignored him? Yeah. Why? I don't think there's a great answer to that question. Whatever it is. So he's
obviously all going through some stuff.
That's true, and I'm willing.
And I'm not trying to.
No, I understand.
Because we all are going through stuff, and we have jobs, and we have to answer emails when we have a million other things going on. But I'll have things that I'm not.
You might be able to explain it.
Yeah.
I don't know that you would have an explanation that makes me go, okay, I get it. Yeah. I think it'd be like, that's still not a great look. All right, but whatever. Maybe not the biggest deal in the world, but not great. The other one, the quote about just being in the program last year, he said, just the mental weight of being in that program and dealing with all that, scandals and egos and the character issues throughout the program, it was hard. It was always a weight anytime you walked into the gym. That yes, could just be sour grapes, but it could also be the type of quote that reinforces the narrative that already exists, which is, man, what is going on over there?
It really painted a picture.
Yes.
For me, when I read it.
That was the quote that jumped out at me. Like if I were trying to do a pull-out quote in old newspaper terms, that's the pull-out quote.
Yes.
There is a narrative already connected to the program when it's suspensions and investigations and scandals and good teams that turn bad and bad teams that get good. Mm-hmm. And now you've got a player who lived through all of it, and he was like, the mental weight of being in that program and dealing with all that scandals and egos and character issues throughout the program, it was hard. If I'm a Memphis fan, I read that. That's not the you know.
It's not what you want.
You get off the phone with
your former walk-on.
You get off the phone with an airline and they say, "Hey, will you take a survey and tell me about your experience?" Yeah. That's essentially what Joe Cooper was doing here. Let me take the survey and tell you about my experience, and I don't like the answers on the survey.
You didn't skip the survey. He specifically pointed out those issues.
Yeah, and their issue.
Yeah, it doesn't make you feel good.
Well,
but
it's not like. I guess this is my point. It's not like we've been going, man, Memphis basketball, that's running like a machine. Like it's like people will talk about Memphis, about programs that just run themselves. At this point, it's UConn and then it's Memphis. The opposite is what's been said about Memphis. I was going to say,
maybe it speaks to the quote that it doesn't garner even more attention or concern because it's not particularly like shocking. There's not a lot of shock value to it.
Right, because everything about that quote is stuff we've already assumed about that program. Yeah, but you just have a player on the inside saying, "Man, that was crazy."
That was crazy.
That's basically what he's saying. Man, it was crazy over there. Egos and character issues and scandals, and it was wild. I'd rather him say the opposite of all that,
or say nothing.
Or I don't want to say I'd rather him say nothing.
No. But if he had nothing to say, then it wouldn't be an issue. I don't mean don't talk. I'm not trying to silence someone. I just mean from a standpoint of if there was nothing to say other than let's like take that piece out of it. Keep the part in where the coach doesn't text, which is not good, but you could like overlook it. Right. But there's nothing overwhelmingly bad to say about the program that you just left and the program that you really wanted to, you're a hometown kid.
Yeah, I just don't like it when your dream turns into your nightmare. Yeah. You know, when I've always.
We've all had dreams turn into nightmares.
Oh, sure.
It's not fun.
Sure.
Not at all.
So
next thing you know, you're on the bench making up fake elbow injuries.
Yes, I think I did. I think I was so embarrassed to just verbalize.
Yeah.
The reason I'm not playing is because I'm not
I'm no longer good enough to play.
I'm not good enough to play.
Yeah.
I want to emphasize I was 14 and the other players were 17 and 18.
Great. Thank you.
But
you were a freshman on varsity.
I think I had to rationalize it by saying maybe just to myself. Maybe I had to lie to myself. Maybe I was lying to myself, but I was so uncomfortable. I had never had to say I'm just not good enough.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to deal with for the first time. And it was heartbreaking. My heart broke just like Joe Cooper's.
Wow.
But
it could change a core belief. I just saw Inside Out too. I'm very much in my,
It was great.
Damn
I loved it.
I'm like the only person that hasn't seen this yet.
We went
and saw it in Dallas on our trip. We went to, I don't go to theaters very often. This is the first time I've been to a theater since I saw the Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Damn, man.
I saw that. And
I'm going today.
And before that, I thought it was Oppenheimer, maybe.
Are you going to see Inside Out too?
I'm going to see the Bike Riders.
What's the Bike Riders?
Dude, it's your boy's brother. It's Jeff Nichols, Ben Nichols' brother's new movie. Yeah,
I know Jeff.
Yeah.
The Bike Riders?
It's his brand new movie.
Did Ben do the music?
I don't know if he did the music for this one, but
it's the Austin Butler, Jodie Comer
it looks
movie.
awesome. Yeah, Tom Hardy's in it.
Jeff's great.
He's one of the best directors going. I mean, he don't miss.
Give me his film. I forget him. I've seen them all.
Mike Feist is in it.
He did Take Shelter.
Take Shelter was great.
Mud.
Mud was great.
He did a UFO movie that was great, and I can't think. What was it called? Is it on? Do you have?
I'm looking at it right now.
He did it. It was so good. It might be the best one, and I can't think
as a director?
Yeah, as a director. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head.
Not Hank the Cow Dog.
No, what else has he done besides
He did Loving.
Mud and Take Shelter?
Shotgun Stories was his first.
Midnight Special?
That's it. Midnight Special. That movie is awesome.
A father and son go on the run, pursued by the government and a cult drawn to the child's
how have I not heard about the
powers.
Bike Riders?
I haven't heard about the Bike Riders either.
I love Austin Butler, I think.
Oh, he's great.
And I love
Jodie Comer.
I don't want to say like Jeff's my friend. We're not friends. But like Ben's my friend, and I know Jeff. I've been around them.
Did you watch Killing Eve?
Yes.
I loved Killing Eve.
Oh, she's in it.
Yeah.
I love her.
I know. I love her too.
Bennett, remember when you told me to go see Ricky Gervais at Radio City that night? My options were go see Ricky Gervais at Radio City or go see Jodie Comer on Broadway.
Oh, yeah. What was she in?
I don't know, but it was apparently the reviews were great. I was going to go to that, and then Bennett said Ricky Gervais is at Radio City, so I went to Radio City instead.
Facie?
Yep, that's it.
Prima Facie?
Yeah. It was apparently great. And
I thought Inside Out 2 was great.
I did too. So
I really liked it.
Here's what I was trying to say. I don't go to the movie theaters too often. Is this just like the way all movie theaters are now? We sit down, and we had a waiter, and they brought us.
No, not all movie theaters.
Okay.
Here, they do it at the Ridgeway Cinema.
They'll bring you your food.
I just ordered a hamburger and some sweet
Last
potato
night,
fries.
People were bringing their like little things were going off. Well, people were. There were a lot of high people seeing Inside Out 2 on a Thursday night, and I'm all for having a good time at the movie.
Everybody's getting high these days.
I was like, my God.
Oh, it was stinky.
It smelled, between the kids running around screaming, somebody opened the exit door and set off an alarm for like 10 minutes of the movie.
Oh, wow.
And no one closed it. And then a lot of people were high. But a lot of people were ordering food, and I think those things were connected. And so their little buzzer would go off, and they had to go get the food. And then they brought it in these like giant plastic bags.
Yeah, that's too
And then
much.
the plastic bags and the styrofoam were so loud.
Yeah,
I felt so old.
That's amateur hour.
I was like, what are we doing? But it was packed. Good to see the movie theaters packed.
Yeah, we were pretty packed, not entirely packed, but yeah, we had like a waiter. They just like bring us whole meals. It was an enjoyable experience. Yeah. Just lean back in my recliner. I liked Inside Out too. The Pixar movies are like some of the best movies.
They're so good.
They're always
we won't spoil it for Benny, but
did they miss? They don't miss.
They don't miss. No, they don't miss. Even the ones that like people would say aren't good are still perfectly fine. Like, I'm not a big fan of like the Cars movies, but my kid likes them.
My wife says Inside Out and Inside Out 2, the Inside Out series, she says that's her favorite Pixar. Is that a reasonable opinion for her to have?
yeah, I actually found myself thinking about that last night while watching it, and that I genuinely want them to continue. There was a big, I don't know if you followed it, Bennett, but some article about like the future of Disney Pixar and how they were going to rest on a lot of
New
sequels.
ideas.
No, they were gonna they weren't gonna do new ideas.
That's
because they weren't supportive of, like, I really enjoyed Turning Red, but they didn't see Turning Red as profitable. And I
also
think
happened
Luca
during
was the
COVID.
other one that they used as an example.
Luca was amazing.
Elemental. I know. I thought Luca was
amazing.
incredible.
Elemental was great.
Elemental was good. Soul was fine.
Those
like
movies-
even like a fine Pixar movie is a good Pixar movie
Right.
in my opinion.
I know they're misguided on this because those movies failed because of COVID.
I agree.
Soul, Turning Red.
That said, I
yeah.
really want Inside Out to continue as a franchise. Like, I
Well, they
genuinely
will.
want to see Riley
Because this one's a hit.
be a
and-
senior in
and
high
she's
school.
gotta
I
go
want
through
to
high
see
school.
Riley
And then she's going to go through young adulthood.
graduate college and not have a job and be going through the turmoil.
And then she's going to get divorced. She's going to get married. She's going to get
adulthood.
divorced. We're going to have to deal with that.
Could be tough.
I mean, you could do a bunch of these.
I know. And then they can have kids. Like, she can have kids.
Oh, yeah.
Or not.
The
choice
premise-
is hers.
The choice is hers.
The choice is hers.
We're not trying to turn her into mother.
No.
Hey, you start talking like that, why don't you go kick for the...
Why don't you call me a trad wife?
Why don't you go kick for Kansas City?
Next thing you know, I'm going to start baking bread. Baking bread and making my own milk.
Yep.
You can go kick. You can go kick for the Chiefs if you want to talk like that.
No, I thought the depiction of anxiety was like tremendous.
I liked it.
I cried.
I liked it when they. I think this was toward the end.
I cried at the beginning.
All right, spoilers. Whoa.
We're not spoiling.
Oh, this won't be.
Okay,
It's just a
okay,
little
okay,
moment
all
that
right.
I thought was cute, just the way they did it, because it really is how you deal with anxiety. Like they took anxiety. They were like, anxiety, get over here in your special chair, just relax, and just try to cater to anxiety. Get in your special chair and
Yeah.
just sit right here and have a good time. Hey, I heard you on the subject of crying. I heard you say this
Yeah.
morning. You're doing a crying movies.
Yeah, next week is movies that make you cry. The
Do you
winner
remember
is
the
Forrest
first
Gump.
time you ever cried in a movie? Bennett, do you?
It had to have been Mufasa, Lion King, because that's one of the earlier movies I saw as a kid, and obviously that scene hits. So I think that's got to be
I do
it.
actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember because I was a really weird. Like, I bragged that I didn't cry. Like, one of my proudest things as a kid was like, nothing makes me cry. Concerning. Now I cry all the time, so I've really built it up. They start playing the like do 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 like the intro instrumental of Inside Out 2, and I'm like, ugh!
Already?
Oh yeah, it was
Oh,
awful.
wow.
But I would always say I didn't cry. Like, My Dog Skip didn't cry. My Girl didn't cry. Bridge to Terabithia didn't cry. All my peers, they're sobbing, they're a mess. I'm like, you babies.
Right.
And I was sitting on an airplane with my mom on a flight, and we watched Marley and Me, and I cried like a baby.
And that's going to be the movie.
No, it's not. Forrest Gump won.
Did it really?
Forrest Gump won. You won. So
I'm back.
We will be watching Forrest Gump next Thursday if you'd like to join us.
When do people cry in Forrest Gump?
I don't know. Great question. We're about to find out.
Okay. Are y'all serious? Like,
I don't remember crying in Forrest Gump.
When Jenny dies? Are you
Spoilers!
joking? Like, whatever. If you haven't seen Forrest Gump, I'm sorry.
I mean, I didn't want to see Jenny go, but it didn't break my heart.
Dude, when he goes and meets his son for the first time in that apartment, like, are you serious? Like, what are we talking about?
I don't even remember Forrest Gump.
Run, Forrest.
That's all I remember is he was running around.
Lieutenant Dan.
That's all I know.
I just talk like that randomly, and Chris is like, you have to stop.
When his mother died, like, what? There's a million sad
Everybody died
scenes
in
that
Forrest
movie.
Gump. Turns
Yeah.
out, I didn't know. I
Bubba
forgot.
Gut shrimp.
I forgot everybody died. Boy, you ain't lived till you've been to that Bubba Gump Shrimp in Times Square.
Or the Sparrow.
I went to Bubba Gump Shrimp in Honolulu, Hawaii once.
Oh, you just can't. Like, I don't even know how that works.
Can I tell you, this is a just gross story.
Okay.
My grandma, there's a lot of layers here. She was my grandpa's wife, so she was my grandma for the better part of my life. I haven't spoken to her in a long time. Like, after my grandpa died.
This is a step-grandma.
Yeah.
Got it.
And enough that like we didn't have a relationship that carried over into like posthumous of my grandfather passing.
So when he died, it was over.
But anyway, we were all over in Hawaii.
When's the last time you talked to this gal?
My grandpa's funeral.
Oh, wow, that's sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. And I was like a senior in high school.
Oh, Jess.
Yeah, I know. Tough.
Jesus.
Therapy
Yes.
2.0 on the show.
Your step-grandma probably feels exactly like Joe Cooper.
I feel like Joe Cooper. She's the adult in the room. Where's my call? Where's my graduation card?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. See?
That's when I
See?
knew.
You ready for this?
That's when I knew.
See, it works both ways. Works both ways.
Anyway, we were in Hawaii.
Of course you were.
For a Hawaii bowl for Christmas.
Of course you were in
And
Hawaii.
she took me to the mall, and she wanted to take me out to a nice lunch. And so she took me to Bubba Gump Shrimp.
Yes.
Nicest restaurant
Sure.
in all of town. And I hated seafood when I was a young kid. Like, it took me a while to get into a place where I liked seafood. And so I ordered myself like popcorn shrimp, thinking that would be the
That's safe.
easiest thing to eat. And I didn't like it. And so, but my grandma was like very big on like finish your plate kind of thing.
Okay.
And she went to the bathroom and I stuffed all of the popcorn shrimp into my purse.
No, that's not even the right way to do it.
And I folded it into a napkin, put it in my purse, left it. I was like 10. I didn't need to be carrying a purse. It was like a fun purse to have.
Sure.
And then I put that purse in our hotel room and I forgot about the popcorn
Oh,
shrimp
no.
for like 2 days.
That's rough.
And then the popcorn shrimp was found and I had to get rid of the purse.
Of course.
It smelled so bad.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned that you should be honest if you don't like food and you don't have to finish everything.
Do you think this is why this woman never calls you anymore?
Maybe.
Is she still living?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about her?
Yeah.
You should call
Not
her.
in the no, it's complicated.
I'm asking too many questions.
Yeah, you're asking too many questions.
No, it's not, it's like not emotionally complicated. But the last time I saw her, she lived in an area where my mom ended up moving to. And we saw her at the YMCA. And we thought about saying hello. And instead,
You saw this woman out in the wild and didn't even speak to her.
we hid in the bathroom.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's
Do you
wild.
have any long lost family members who are like at one point a part of your family and then are not?
Yes.
Yeah, all
Thank
of them.
you.
All of them.
All of them. You get it?
All of them.
It would have been so weird. It was easier for all of us just to,
Oh, I've done
wait it out.
done things like that
Oh, I hide from people sometimes.
all the time.
I mean,
all the time?
Like
When's the last time you hid from somebody?
like last week. Like I'll go to the movies
I hide a
today
lot.
and I'll see somebody that I recognize there and I'll make a quick beeline to the exit.
I walk away from people
I
too.
do
Yeah.
that.
I walk away from
Because
people.
I like Larry David,
Yeah.
like one of the greatest. I don't know if it's a quote, but I don't like the stop and chat.
Right.
Oh, I
I'm not
hate it,
against
yeah.
it, but I
Small
will.
talk, stop and chat.
Yeah.
I'm not against it, but I will avoid it.
If I can avoid it, yeah. Like
If
if
you
I
can,
run into
you
somebody,
will.
it's of course we're gonna talk and everything. But like if I see somebody in the distance and I'm like, I could either walk away and they won't ever know that I was here, or I could walk over and say, "Hey, how you been doing?" I think I'm gonna walk away.
That happens to me on planes sometimes. I'll be sitting on a plane and somebody I know will be walking by,
Did you close your eyes really fast?
and I'll do one of these. I'll do one of these, just like. Because I don't even know why I do it. I don't even know why I do it. It's just like I don't want this.
I just did this at the
I don't
Denver
want this
airport.
interaction right now, and so I just put my head down.
Yeah.
I look the other way or something.
I do it
I
too.
used to. I've told this before. We were at 92.9 every once in a while. They stopped doing it probably because
because of you.
Because of me.
Yes.
But they would have. It sounds like Bennett actually has the answers to these mysteries. Why did they stop doing these meet and greets? Because they would be like, come meet Gary Parrish at Kroger in Collierville, right? Or something like
Yeah.
that. And it never even made sense to me that anybody would be like, hey, you know who's going to be at Collierville Kroger at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning?
People would show out.
All right.
People would show out.
It never made sense to me that somebody would actually be like, so what are you doing on Saturday?
I'm going to see
I'm
Gary
going to see
Parrish
Gary
at the
Parrish at
local
Kroger. All right. It just always was weird to me. But like, they pay you. So I was there. And it'd be like, oh, you got to stay here for 2 hours, and you stand by a table.
Yep.
And for large portions of that time, I would just leave. I would just be like, I'd go in the meat section, or I'd go in the bathroom, and just because I was very appreciative, but my anxiety would kick in, and I'd get very uncomfortable. Just like I felt like a zoo animal almost. Like I'm here to be seen and waved at, and I just got real uncomfortable with it, and I would disappear. I would have to hide, and then I'd get it under control, and I'd go back out, and I'd be like, hey man, hey, good to see you. But then I would have these moments where I just couldn't take it, and I would have to disappear.
I do that often.
Yeah.
I get overwhelmed. If you can't find me at an event, I'm in the bathroom.
Right.
I have no problem with it.
Well,
I love to sit in a bathroom by myself.
And I'll be at parties, social settings.
Clubs.
I'll go sit.
Find me in the club bathroom.
Yes.
People probably think I'm doing drugs or dead. I think we've talked about this. I'm not dead. I'm just
I'll go sit by
rest.
myself, and sometimes it'll be interpreted like, oh, what's wrong? Nothing. I just need to be by myself for a minute, and then I'll come back, and it'll be fine. But like I need breaks. Maybe that's the best way to explain it. Yes. I need to have breaks in these settings, and that's I'm sure that
I agree.
I need help.
No.
I think I need help.
This has been a very therapeutic.
I know. Okay.
We're
Thanks, Joe Cooper.
Some demons here. Yep.
First movie that made me cry.
Yes.
Tell me if either one of you ever seen this movie.
Uh-huh.
The Champ. Ricky Schroeder. It's an
I don't
old
think
movie.
so.
It's probably 70s, early 80s. There's a scene in The Champ, spoiler alert. The Champ's a boxer, and Ricky Schroeder is his son. And there's this scene, I don't even think I was watching the whole movie. I just think maybe it was just on at my house when I was a kid. And I'm like 8 years old or 9 years old or maybe 4, I don't remember, but certainly young. And there's this scene where the Champ, he's a fighter, and he gets in a fight, and he gets, it's not going well. And he's laying on a table in the back, and it's like clear there's real trauma. He's dying.
Oh, shit.
And the kid's there, Ricky Schroeder. And he's like, he doesn't even call him Dad. He's like, wake up, Champ. Come on, Champ. And he starts crying. This little kid starts. I'm about to start crying right now just thinking of it. Like, go to YouTube when you get a second and just Google Ricky Schroeder, the champ, the scene. He's sitting there talking to his dad. His dad's lying, and you watch this, and they finally, if I remember correctly, they pull him away. It's like, come on, son. Come on, son. And I had never reacted in that way to a movie.
That hurts my stomach.
And that, I couldn't control it.
That's heavy.
That was rough. So I don't know where it ranks on the list, but saddest shit I ever seen, Ricky Schroeder in The Champ.
That's a bad one.
You got to put that on your list somewhere.
Well, now I know how it ends.
Yeah, he dies.
Yeah.
But most movies end with somebody dying.
We were just talking about it.
If it ain't the Champ, it's Jenny.
Is it weird to call someone Champ? Did you see Jason Tatum's tweet?
Yeah, I heard you talking about this too. And I think that's part of the reason this popped into my head.
Back to you? Have you ever known someone who calls someone Champ?
You can call someone Champ if they're a champion.
What about if they're not?
No, that's me. That's rude. That's rude.
That's rude?
Yeah, if you call me Champ, shut up. Yeah, I don't want to hear that crap.
Shut up.
Who like you can't call James Harden Champ.
No, like
what if James Harden nicknamed himself
James
Champ?
Harden's favorite
what if James Harden's nickname was Champ?
Gentlemen ballets. One of the women called him Champ all the time. Would that be fair? Like, hi, welcome back, Champ.
I think it would be funny if you called James Harden Champ.
Like if someone just called me Champ, like an acquaintance, or that's disrespectful.
You know here's one.
It's like when someone calls me kid. I hate
or
when people
bud.
call them kiddo.
What up, bud?
Wait till your kids get. Is your oldest son? Are they already with bro?
Bro.
No, they're not there yet.
Oh
Thank
my
God.
It's the way. Like this kids just listening to 7-year-olds and talk to each other. It's just bruh. Stop the cat, bruh. Like I'll say something like, hey, Louis, I told you I'll buy that when I get home from the studio. Stop the cat, bro. I'm not your bruh. I'm your dad. I'm your father. All right, bruh. Everything's just bruh. It's tough. It's tough.
Camp.
It's tough. But here's the one coaches do all the time. They call each other coach, and then they call you coach.
That was new to me.
I'm out.
Coaches will call you coach.
Like getting into this sports world, people call me coach. I'm like, what the hell?
It'd be like, hey, what's up, coach? I'm like, I'm not a
hate
coach.
it. People call my dad coach.
Right.
And I'm just like, why do you let them?
Coaches call everybody coach, even if you're not a coach. They just want to refer to you as coach. Hey, coach.
Thanks, coach.
Hey, thanks, coach. All right, coach. Captain. Hey, captain.
Oh, God.
Does captain work?
No, that's too much.
I don't
Captain.
know. It's tough.
Lieutenant. Lieutenant Dan.
You can't help it, can you?
I remember the first movie I cried in, Walk to Remember.
I
was just thinking of that. Mandy Moore.
Mandy
She's
Moore.
got cancer. She sings a song. And I lay.
Mandy Moore got cancer and then started singing?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
How old are you?
32.
I was gonna. That's like I feel like I was like a teenager when that came out.
It came out when I was 10. It came out in 2002. It's Mandy Moore and Shane West, set in North Carolina. Follows the rite of passage of a jaded, aimless high school senior who falls in love with a guileless young woman who has cancer. I'll spoil it for you.
That one was heavy.
That movie was
every
sad.
tween's heart. Yeah.
I don't think you should have to stop singing just because you get cancer. So I'm gonna side with Mandy Moore on this one.
God, I just had deja vu big time.
It's a Nicholas Sparks story. Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Does The Notebook make you cry? Or do you hate The Notebook?
No, I don't hate it. You know what? I read that book.
I love The Notebook.
I'm going to do that thing where you brag about
I
reading the book.
read the book.
I read the book. But like, I was just I remember being at Walmart one night at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like I was whenever the book came out. It was just sitting there. And I looked at it and I was like, I'll buy it.
Yep.
And I went home and I read the whole thing in one night.
Wow.
I loved it. I loved it. And I know it's not cool to say I love the Nicholas Sparks book.
It's fine.
But I thought it was great.
That's why they made a movie.
That's why they made a movie.
They made a musical. The Notebook the Musical is out right now.
And they made a musical.
We have The Notebook the Musical and The Outsiders the Musical.
Oh, wow.
Both on the great Broadway. Outsiders won Best Musical.
Love The Outsiders.
Stay golden. Gary Parrish.
You too.
Gotta go walk some dogs.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah,
We're running out of time. We're running out of time. I'll catch you. Go walk some dogs. Go walk other people's dogs.
Okay.
Make sure to return your coat.
I will.
All right.
Thank you, actually.
Yeah, don't forget.
They're picking it up at noon.
Do you get late fees?
I'm never late.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Thanks, champ.
All right, champ.
Thank you, champ.
Thanks, coach. That's Jessica Benson. She'll be back in studio. You heard what I heard, right?
Yeah.
Monday at 8 o'clock.
Oh, my God.
I'll be with her around 8:40. We come back. They played a Major League Baseball game in Birmingham, Alabama last night. Special occasion. Incredible scene. Somehow Reggie Jackson turned into the star. Alex Rodriguez asked him a question, and boy, did he deliver an answer. We'll play it for you next.
Shall we talk about our favorite NBA Finals MVPs? Number 3 is a little bit of Canadian history because it's the first and only NBA championship that the country as a whole has. I'm going to go with Kawhi Leonard's second Finals MVP. I still get my little heart warm even thinking about it, and I was there watching every game. IMHO with Lang Whitaker and me, Kelsey Wright Johnson, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. We have another edition. This will be the third edition of the Debate Club. You guys are going to sell a shoe to Mr. Bennett Doyle, our producer over here.
Oh, yeah.
I saw these.
I've seen these.
I saw these on social media, too.
It's the perfect house shoe.
I know, right?
Like, yeah, it's not even a house shoe. I bet you they're really comfortable. You know, you heard of unisex. This is unifoot. Oh, my God.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What is going on? What is it? Which one? What color was it? Yeah, that's vomit. That's vomit. Yeah, that is the worst one. The vomit is the worst one. I'd like to remind everybody that this is her idea. She wanted to do this.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Looking for a full court dining experience? Dribble over to Southland Casino Hotel, your ultimate gaming oasis in West Memphis. As a proud sponsor of the Memphis Grizzlies, we're inviting you to savor the flavors at our 8 incredible dining venues. Ignite Steakhouse is where culinary excellence gets grilled. Indulge in charcoal grilled steaks and farm-to-table favorites perfectly paired with wine or handcrafted cocktails. Enjoy an all-access buffet experience at the kitchens or revel in comfort food and southern classics at the Fry House. Steakhouse. If casual is more your thing, sample the innovative fare at Seasons Cafe, while Chairman's Bar and Charred Oak Bourbon Bar serve up cocktails and live concerts every week. For those on the go, The Grind is your one-stop coffee shop with gourmet brews and grab-and-go goodies. And of course, we can't forget the Sports Bar and Grill, where you can catch all the Grizzlies action with the best pub fare in town. At Southland Casino Hotel, we've got the perfect dining experience for you, so come on down and ignite your taste buds today.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
LifeCare Ambulance is proud to be an official partner of the Memphis Grizzlies and FedEx Forum. At LifeCare, they wear their hearts with pride. Their passion is their people. They want you to love what you do and where you do it. Their employee-driven culture encourages a healthy work-life balance and supportive work environment. They invest in your success and well-being so that you can provide the best care for the patients that they serve. Join the incredible team of EMTs and paramedics in Memphis, Nashville, and across the nation today. Learn more at lifecareamb.com.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now, I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Played a Major League Baseball game last night down in Birmingham, Alabama. It was a big celebration at Rickwood. Barry Bonds was there. King Griffey Jr. was there. It was to celebrate the history of baseball, the Negro Leagues, and the games that were played at that historic field. Giants and the Cardinals were the teams that played the baseball game. If you care, the Cardinals won 6-5.
Damn it. It was a good game, too. Giants.
I watched it.
Yeah.
It was a fun game. But the highlight of the night came before the first pitch was even thrown. They took the desk to Birmingham. So you had Alex Rodriguez there and, the whole Fox. They did it right.
Yeah, they did.
When we talked about the London series, Mets-Phillies, and it was like, man, Fox didn't even send the crew to London. Right. And it just looked small. Like they were at Yankee Stadium doing pregame for a Mets-Phillies game that was about to be played in London. Like, if you want to have a big event, you got to make it feel big, and that means you got to take it on the road. I don't know if this was planned before that or not, but they handled this differently. They took this on the road. Everybody was in Birmingham, Alabama. So before the game, they have Reggie Jackson on because Reggie used to play for the minor league franchise in Birmingham, Alabama in the 60s. It wasn't the Barons yet, but Reggie Jackson played for the minor league team in Birmingham, Alabama. And Alex Rodriguez last night was asking him about that. Again, this is on the pregame show, and I don't know what answer he was expecting, but I'm pretty certain it wasn't necessarily anything this thoughtful, anything this raw. But it was an amazing few moments of television. Alex Rodriguez asking Reggie Jackson about his time in Birmingham. Here's how it went down.
Reggie, the baton has been passed for over a century here. We've been talking earlier about if it wasn't for the Willie Mays, the Jackie Robinson, the Reggie Jacksons, the 3 of us wouldn't have an opportunity to play. How emotional is it for you to come back to a play that you played with one of the greatest teams around?
Alex, when people ask me a question like that, it's like coming back here is not easy. The racism that I played here, when I played here, the difficulty of going through different places where we traveled. Fortunately, I had a manager and I had players on the team that helped me get through it. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People said to me today, I spoke, and they said, you think you're a better person? You think you won when you played here and conquered? I said, I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and said, can't eat here. I would go to a hotel and they say, then can't stay here. We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner, and they pointed me out with the N-word. He can't come in here. Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, we're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted. Fortunately, I had a manager, Johnny McNamara, that if I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. The year I came here, Bull Connor was the sheriff the year before. And they took minor league baseball out of here because in 1963, the Klan murdered 4 black girls, children, in 11, 12, 14 years old at a church here and never got indicted. They were from the Klan. Life magazine did a story on them like they were being honored. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. At the same time, had it not been for my white friends, had it not been for a white manager, and Rudy, Fingers, and Duncan, and Lee Myers, I would have never made it. I was too physically violent. I was ready to physically fight some. I'd have got killed here because I'd have beat someone's ass, and you'd have saw me in an oak tree somewhere.
Reggie, I can't even imagine. It's awful you had to go through that, but appreciate you sharing the rawness and the honesty of it with our audience. I mean, really,
we love you, Reg.
Yeah, thank you.
Quick history lesson right there.
That's a great history lesson.
You.
Reggie Jackson telling us all about it, preaching. Wow, that's unbelievable. The great Reggie Jackson, the Hall of Famer, joining us here, and we've got more to do.
That's about as long of an answer as you're ever going to see on TV in that type of show, because as somebody who works on these types of shows, pregame shows, halftime shows, postgame shows, they're all, not all, but most of them, the inside the NBA stuff's a different animal altogether,
Yeah.
but most of them are very scripted.
Yeah.
And it's like down to the 15-second interval. Like we don't
you got
have
a minute to respond.
We
Yeah,
don't have
that
time
kind of
for
thing.
this.
Yeah.
If I ever tried to talk for 3.5 minutes straight on a pregame show, there would be a producer in my ear at the 30-second mark saying, moving on. This is the way they do it. Moving on. That's a very soft way of saying, wrap it up. We got to keep it going. We got a commercial to hit. We got to keep going. So part of the brilliance in what we just watched is somebody made the decision, let him go. Let him talk. If we got to scrap other things, we'll scrap other things. Don't rush him. Don't get in his way. Let him talk till he's through talking. That's the first thing that made that great. The desk got out of his way. The host got out of his way, and the producer stayed out of it and just let him go. And they allowed one of the greatest baseball players who's ever lived to give an incredible history lesson from Birmingham, Alabama, on national television. Reggie Jackson is only 78 years old. We are probably about to elect a president, one or the other, who is older than Reggie Jackson. This wasn't that long ago.
Right.
When he would walk into a restaurant and they would say, you can't be here. And for the clip that we played, we bleep it, or it was bleeped. Fox bleeped it before they sent it out. But on TV, there were no bleeps. It was live television. He said the N-word twice, which I'm sure made people in the truck go, ugh. But that word was important in that context, I thought, because that's the way it was said to him. It was that raw. Imagine. It wasn't that long ago. And you could also just see on his face and hear in his voice, like there's real lasting pain there.
For sure.
Seems like. I don't know what Alex was going for exactly, but typically in these types of things, you say, looking back on your time here, and it's like, oh man, it's just great to be back here. I had some, And he was like, no, it's not great to be back here. This is one of the worst experiences of my life being back here. You have no idea how I was treated, but let me tell you. And that is why some of us get really frustrated when political leaders push to have this stuff eliminated from schools, to not teach this stuff to our children. They'd rather hide from it than acknowledge it.
Yep. Or explain it in a nicer.
But that's the way Reggie Jackson explained it is the way it should be explained, because everything you need to know is in there.
Yep.
Everything you need to know about where we were in this time, in this country, particularly in the South, it's in those comments. It's in that story. Just got to listen to the whole story. What does he say? It was a terrible experience. I'd sit down at a restaurant and they'd say that N-word can't be here, but they wouldn't use N-word. They'd use the straight, all right? Hotels can't be here, all right? Sleeping on the couch. And I should make it clear, this isn't just like who is this? He was the number 2 pick in the draft.
That's right. Hall of Famer, legend, yep.
This is, like, people knew who Reggie Jackson was.
Of course.
He was the number 2 pick in the draft, and he was treated this way in the city in which he played, all right? Sleeping on couches. If you don't get him out of there, we're going to burn this apartment complex down, all right? People need to hear that. That's where that happened here, all right? But I think people need to hear the second part of the story too. Because, like, if you just let him finish the story, there's stuff in there for everybody. You know what he said? But I got through it. You know why he said he got through it?
The help of my white manager and my white friends and teammates, yeah.
There's a lesson in there as well, you know? Yes, there were people who were making life miserable unjustly for Reggie Jackson and everybody who looked like Reggie Jackson. But there were also other people trying to help, right? There were other people trying to help and did help. And I can't for the life of me understand why in the year 2024, some people are so scared of the kids knowing that story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I played that for my kids. I want them to hear that story.
Yep.
I take my kids to the Civil Rights Museum. I want them to see that. This is where you're growing up. This used to happen here. We've come a long way, right? But, you know, turn on the news, do a little reading. We ain't exactly where we should be. And there's a lot of people who think we might be going backwards as opposed to forward in this time. So I was really appreciative of Fox just allowing that to happen. I promise you they weren't planning for that. But it created a viral moment. And more than that, because, like, you know, you can create a viral moment doing anything, explaining how you might spit on that thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is a viral moment that's a real history lesson. I tweeted it last night and showed it to my kids, and that's better than anything they'll learn in history class all next year in school. That's a more true and telling story than they'll get in any book they get in school, and that's a real shame. Like,
it is.
People should know that Reggie. You see Reggie Jackson now. Reggie Jackson could walk down any street in America, and people would celebrate him and beg for selfies and autographs and handshakes and hugs. But it ain't always been like that for him.
Right.
He's been lucky enough to live long enough to see the other side of it. But in his adult life, he went through some really ugly stuff. And you could tell last night that pain is still there. And that was just an incredible moment of television.
Yep.
I don't know that you can plan for those types of moments, but when they come, I'm really appreciative of them. So I don't know. I thought it was also sweet. Like, did you see, like, by the end of it, they felt compelled to hug him.
Yeah.
And just say, I love you. Like, they could tell he was hurting right there telling that story. I just thought the whole thing was sweet and important. And after that, a baseball game was played, and it was fun. I watched it. But the lasting thing from last night won't be Barry Bonds saying that he would have homered off of Satchel Paige, although that was a great moment too.
Mm-hmm.
And it won't be, however the Cardinals won 6-5. Who got the win? Who took the loss? Who got the save? Whatever. The thing people will remember about that night at Rickwood will be the story Reggie Jackson told, and he told it really well.
Number 2.
It's official now. J.J. Redick is the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. 4-year deal. J.J. Redick coaching the Lakers in 4 years.
Oh, in 4 years. You know what? I'll say yes. And the reason I say that is because LeBron's probably not going to be there in 4 years. And I think that this is one of those situations where regardless of – now, if he sucks, if he's just not a good coach, then no, he won't be there. But if he's good in this great basketball mind, like a lot of people think he is, I don't think whatever happens with LeBron is going to matter because I think the Lakers don't want that public perception as we only hired this guy for LeBron. We're going to get rid of him after LeBron. I think they want it to be known we hired this guy to be the coach of the Lakers for a long time.
I do think there's some, I think you're onto something there. Like we talked with Vernon about it a few weeks ago. Like the history of Lakers coaches isn't great.
No.
Pat Riley lasted a while. Phil Jackson lasted a while. Everybody else gets fired pretty quickly.
And the history of LeBron coaches is not great.
That too. So they have to be sensitive to that. Like the whole world is waiting around for you to fire J.J. Redick in a year and a half.
Yes.
All right? Does that make it where you'd be more compelled to be patient with it than you otherwise would? Think about it. I just heard this story about somebody. They'd gotten married. They work in media, and they'd gotten married. And the truth is, like, pretty quickly after getting married, they had split up. And this person works in television and kept wearing wedding ring for a while. And because they were just embarrassed to, it was like, man, I know some people out there said this was a stupid marriage, and we did it anyway, and now it's over so quickly, and people are going to laugh at me, and I'd rather just people think I'm still married than laugh at me for getting a divorce so quickly, right? I wonder if there's going to be some of that with the Lakers, like, man, the whole world's going to laugh at us if we don't let this thing play out. We cannot pull the trigger quickly on this guy.
Right.
Because that's what everybody is expecting. Everybody says we're a joke of a franchise who's just going to hire.
What'd you expect hiring a podcaster?
You're going to hire LeBron's podcasting buddy and then fire him in a year and a half, just like everybody else. Ha, ha, ha. We can't, if we're going to go down this path, and it is based on we really believe in this guy as the next Pat Riley, then we got to let it play out and not get reactionary to a bad start or even a bad year.
Right.
We'll see. Because the same family have been firing these coaches for decades.
That's true.
They're the ones still in control. Different people, but same family. I have no idea whether it'll work or not. I guess in this business, you're supposed to have strong opinion about it. And I could fake it if you wanted me to. Yeah. J.J. Redick's going to be a disaster. Or J.J. Redick's going to be the best coach since Pat Riley.
We don't know.
I have no idea.
I've never seen him coach.
Here's what I know. He has a brilliant basketball mind. That's clear. He really knows and understands the game. For him to even ask the questions that he asked suggests that he has a real curiosity about it as well. Like when you go watch it when he talked to Dan Hurley and they're just talking about stuff that even I don't understand every word of it. All right?
Right.
And then he's obviously talking to LeBron and he's just like he just wants to pick his brain. Like, how would you guard this? All right, what do you do this? How do you do here? And a lot of that is the foundation of coaching. But any coach will tell you this. We can all sit down and talk about how to guard ball screens and baseline out of bounds and all that stuff. Coaching it's about managing people and reacting in real time and making quick decisions. And there's just no way that you can know if he's good at that stuff. Just no way that you can know. But I can understand why everybody was interested in him, and that should be another thing people understand. It wasn't just the Lakers wanted to hire J.J. Redick because he works with LeBron on a podcast. Charlotte interviewed him. Detroit was interested. Like, a lot of franchises have been interested in the idea of J.J. Redick because he's impressive. He's an impressive guy. But there's a long list of impressive guys who they sound good when you're talking to them, but then you get them in it and you say, all right, now go do the job. They just can't do the job for whatever reason. They sound like they could do the job, and they look like they could do the job. But when you put them in a job, they just can't do it. It's impossible to know.
Right.
There have been long-time assistants, guys with tons of experience who have gotten NBA head coaching jobs, and it's a disaster. Vice versa, there's been guys who with no experience, they get a job, and then Steve Kerr's stacking championships and headed to the Hall of Fame. It's impossible to know which way it goes, but It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. If it doesn't go well, it'll be, awkward. Because whether it's true or not, I mean, you can listen to Woj or anybody else, and they'll tell you LeBron had nothing to do with this. The average fan ain't going to believe that forever. They're going to, at the very least, believe the Lakers knew. Whether LeBron said hire J.J. Redick or not, they're going to know that the Lakers knew LeBron likes this guy. And they're going to think that that's why they hired him. And so if it doesn't go well, it'll be awkward because all this stuff will, come back to the surface. But it's an interesting hire, and, we'll see how it goes.
Number 3.
Josh Giddey has been traded to the Chicago Bulls. Alex Caruso going to Oklahoma City. And when the trade first got reported, I guess Woj broke it yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like Alex Caruso to Oklahoma City, Josh Giddey to Chicago. And everybody was like, okay, how many picks they have to attach to this?
What's else going on?
Like Oklahoma City's got all these picks. What do they do? Attach a future first, 2 future first, to get them to take Giddey? Because they were never going to be able to pay Giddey. Plus, he might be, a weirdo. But they were never going to be able to pay him anyway.
Yeah.
So, they just got better. You'd rather have Alex Caruso next year than Josh Giddey.
Dude, I can't believe the league didn't step in. This is outrageous, bro. Josh Giddey is a serviceable NBA player that was on a good team last season. He also got played out of the playoffs. That dude could not play for them in the playoffs because he couldn't hit wide open shots. No, he couldn't make a shot. And anyone in their right mind would say they would rather have Alex Caruso than Josh Giddey. The fact that the Bulls did not get anything else for that is crazy to me. It makes no sense. In that franchise, man, I swear they are living off Michael Jordan's legacy forever. It is.
They're just stuck in nowhere land,
dude. What are they? The Chicago Bulls have been a borderline playoff, play-in type team. It seems like forever now, and this is exactly what this move is. Okay, so your backcourt's going to be Alex or Josh Giddey and Kobe White. Right. Okay, that's like a play-in, possible playoff team going forward. Right. It makes no sense.
Did you see the tweet? It got retweeted a lot. It popped into my timeline. Somebody said, how the trade goes down and people give trade grades. You're grade the trade. And so it was official trade grade, Oklahoma City, A+, Chicago, A-.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's tough. Even if you put all the weirdo stuff aside, it's just a bad trade.
The Bulls just took a weirdo. Actually, I don't even know if that's fair. I don't want to join that thing. I kind of understand how he got caught up. It's not like Josh Giddey was allegedly messing around with a 12-year-old.
Right.
I can sort of see how what happened
he might
happened.
Not know, whatever.
I can see how it. I've seen enough TikToks to see how this could happen. All right, so I shouldn't call him a weirdo. But other people do, and that is his reputation. And they just took your perceived weirdo and gave you Alex Caruso.
You just made that so.
You just made them better, and you didn't make them attach picks, and now people are going to ask you. Now you got to hold a press conference introducing Josh Giddey, and somebody's probably going to stand up and say, "Are you comfortable bringing this guy into the franchise, considering the allegations against him whenever?"
Yeah, because at the trade deadline, this past trade deadline, there was reports that there was first round picks being offered for Alex Caruso. So
I don't understand it.
It's crazy that there was nothing else involved there.
And I should say, like, all the people who follow the NBA seem to also think it's crazy. Like, how did the Bulls? And it's like Oklahoma City has, I don't know the exact number, but it's like 20 first-round picks. Something crazy. It's like, so like, hey, we'll do it. We'll take your little problem, long-haired, guard, but you got to attach a future first to it. You got to give us something.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that dude.
And I was reading, like, breaks down of it, like, how this would work for Oklahoma City. And it's like, now you just turn Lou Dort loose and you say, go maul people.
Yeah.
And if you pick up fouls, it's fine because we got Alex Caruso.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league. There's no question about it.
I mean, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso.
Chet Holmgren. Yeah, they're going to be awesome.
And it stinks for the Grizzlies because, like, an Eastern Conference team just made a Western Conference team you're looking up at better.
Yeah.
Shame on you, Chicago.
If I'm the Grizzlies, I'm trying to call Chicago and see what's up. Maybe we can fleece them too.
All right. Well, shame on you, Chicago.
Yikes.
Number 4.
NCAA tournament expansion continues to be a big topic of conversation. The NCAA, if you missed it, presented models to conference commissioners earlier this week. saying that we're interested in expanding the tournament, and if we do, we'd probably go to a 72-team model or a 76-team model. And this has led to, some people freaking out. Don't mess with the NCAA tournament. We don't need to expand. You're going to diminish the regular season and so on, all the things you've always heard. And I guess what I would say, we did a podcast on it yesterday. I guess what I would say is I don't think the NCAA tournament needs to be expanded. When you hear Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, or other people like that argue in favor of NCAA tournament expansion, they talk about access points. And they say, hey, listen, we've seen teams go from the first four to the final four. We've seen Ole Miss baseball go from last team in the field to College World Series champion. Like, you can say we're not leaving a possible national champion out of this, but we might be. And, the more the merrier. The truth is it'll make more money eventually, if not immediately, eventually. And, conference commissioners are constantly chasing money. And so this was always going to happen. The pushback on it is we don't need more teams in this field. The bubble's already weak every year. Teams that nobody thinks are any good from power conferences are on the bubble every March. They have plenty of opportunity to get in. If you get left out, it's because you're not good or you've messed up. It's not because, we just don't have a spot for you. We put mediocre teams in. We don't leave good teams out. So let's not expand the field. So I was asked about it yesterday, and I would vote no if it were up to me, because I'm not making any more money off of it. I would vote no. In fact, if you left it up to me, I would take it back down to 64 so that everybody, the entire bracket fits neatly on a, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, the way we grew up with it. You fill that thing out. I'd go back to 64. We ain't never going back to 64. We're at 68 right now. We're going to 72, 76. And so I would vote against it. I don't want it. I don't think it's necessary unless you just want to make more money someday. But I'm also not offended by it. And here's why. Because of baseball. Every sport has expanded its postseason in our lifetimes. NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA playoffs, the World Cup, you name it. It's all been expanded. People will tell you every time something's about to expand that you're about to ruin the sport. Every single time. They say, you're going to ruin it. Nothing ever gets ruined. Nothing has ever been ruined by expansion, far as I know.
That's true.
They say it every time. 64 to 68, that's going to ruin the tournament. It didn't.
No.
It just doesn't. And so I'm aware of this. People always think it's going to, this will be the death of, and it just never really is. Even though I don't want this, I'm okay with it, and here's why. For most of my life of being a Mets fan, you had to win your division to be in the playoffs. And at one point, it was just two divisions, NL West, NL East. We didn't have the NL Central. Then it became three divisions, so, 3 winners instead of 2. Eventually, we get a wild card. Eventually, we get 2 wild cards. Now we have 3. But think about this. Did adding wild cards to Major League Baseball diminish the regular season? Maybe. But if we didn't have wild cards in Major League Baseball right now, the Mets are 13 and a half games behind the Phillies in the NL East. If we didn't have wild cards, the Mets and Cubs are playing this afternoon. I can't wait.
Right.
I wouldn't even want to watch. The season would be over right now.
Oh, dude, I'm in a division with the Yankees.
Right.
Like the Orioles would never make the playoffs.
All right, so I don't know if we really need 12 teams in the Major League Baseball playoffs, but because we do have 12 teams in the Major League Baseball playoffs, suddenly the Mets season is still interesting for me right now. If we didn't have expansion, the Mets season would be over. So maybe it is diminishing the regular season in the sense that the Phillies have a 7-game lead on the Braves in June, and almost no matter what happens at this point going forward, they're going to be in the playoffs. So what's the, meaning behind the rest of the Phillies season? I guess, maybe, but they're still going to have fun winning a bunch of games and winning a division. Just expansion does keep more teams in the conversation longer. Just by definition, it does.
Right.
And I don't know that that's the worst thing in the world. Yes, the bubble will get softer and the cut line will move down, but all that'll mean is it's not like we'll stop talking about the bubble. It'll just be a weaker bubble, but we'll still talk about it just as enthusiastically as we ever did. So I would vote against it, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. And I'm almost like resigned to the reality of it's going to happen. And I can spin it into a positive, even if I'd rather not have it. I don't think it'll kill college basketball. I don't think it'll kill the regular season. I don't think it'll kill the NCAA tournament. It'll just create more spots in a bracket that will get all wrapped up on this. Basically, the proposals are, when we had the first 4 on Tuesday and Wednesday, instead of having 2 games on Tuesday, 2 games on Wednesday, we might have 4 games on Tuesday and 4 games on Wednesday. And then by the time we get to Thursday, the tournament is exactly the way it's always been. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. If you want to read about it more, you can find it at cbssports.com.
Number 5.
Rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. Acclaimed actor, died yesterday at the age of 88. Some younger folks might know him mostly as Kiefer Sutherland's dad, but Donald Sutherland was a long-time acclaimed actor who played big roles for the entirety of his life. He never really retired.
No, he was still acting.
He worked into his 80s. Do you have a favorite Donald Sutherland role?
Ooh, that's a good question. So he's in this movie called Don't Look Now, which is like a 70s like horror movie, and it's scary as crap. I don't know if it's his best role, but it's one that kind of stands out that I was like, oh yeah, that he's scary in that. I don't know if I'd have like a best one. I bet I know what you're going to say is your favorite Donald Sutherland role. It's your favorite movie that you talk about.
It's one of my favorite movies.
JFK.
He played Mr. X in
and
that.
he's great in that. That might be
great.
Yeah, that might be it. That might be my favorite.
Great.
Yeah.
Like just chilling.
Yep.
You know, he comes back to talk to Jim Garrison, who has been played by, oh my God, what's my guy's name? Yellowstone.
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner is playing the main character in it. And Donald Sutherland is like a source. And he's like trying to walk Jim Garrison through it. And it's just, I think he's only in the film for like 15 minutes. But it is.
And he's not in a ton of movies where he's the main star.
Right.
Right.
But he was an important character in this film. And he just nailed it. Nailed the lines, just the cadence, everything. He just nailed that part. I do love that movie. We were just in Dallas, and we had lunch downtown on maybe Tuesday, and then we were a half a mile from Dealey Plaza, and I had my little guys there. They're not even really familiar with the JFK story.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they are aware that
the president was murdered.
I quizzed them.
Yep.
They are aware that we had a president named John Kennedy, and they are aware that he was assassinated, but they don't really know anything more about it than that, nor should they, I guess, Sure. But I wanted them to see it. We were right there. It was like, hey, 10-minute walk. Let's just walk over here and, I want to. Someday somebody will ask them, hey, have you ever been to Dealey Plaza? And they'll be able to say yes, because, my dad took me there that day. So I just wanted them to see it, even if they couldn't fully appreciate it. But then you get there and you start talking them through it, and you're showing them videos on YouTube, and I don't know that if you asked them what was your favorite part of the trip, they would tell you going to Dealey Plaza. I'm certain that they wouldn't tell you that, but I thought it was important since we were right there, just like take them there. And then, of course, that's fresh in my head when you see the news yesterday, Donald Sutherland died. The first thing I think of is, man, he played an incredible part in JFK. So I don't know if you've never seen JFK. I can't recommend it enough. I know it gets into some wild speculation.
Yeah, it's good though.
But it's entertaining. It's a movie. It is one of those movies where I remember seeing it in the theater, and I don't know how well it holds up. I haven't seen it in a long time. But I remember walking out of the theater, and I couldn't wait to talk to people about it. I just was like, please find me somebody who has seen this as well, so we can sit down and just talk for the next 2 hours. And then I went on to read all the books and watch all the documentaries. I've got not obsessed with it, but I was really into it.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Rob Reiner did a podcast on it.
Yeah.
Soledad O'Brien in the past year.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Was it?
Really good. Yeah. I mean, it sort of leads you down the same path. And I don't know that I did learn some things, but it lands at this was 100% a conspiracy and a cover up and all of that stuff. It was good. But if you've never seen JFK, in that time in my life, I first saw it as a teenager, I thought it was amazing. And the Donald Sutherland scene, I'm confident holds up well. I did go back and just look at it on YouTube last night for a second, just to make sure I remembered it correctly, what it looked like and sounded like. And yes, he just nailed it. So rest in peace to a legend, Donald Sutherland, gone at the age of 88. Be back with GP's Carryout.
Mike did his favorite black films of all time. Mike, where we at?
If there's one movie I know every single line to, it is Coming to America.
There we go.
It is Coming to America. It can come on any time of any day, and I'm going to stop and watch at least 20 minutes of it.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
I think we have the college basketball title futures. UConn's number one.
I really like Houston. I'd have them winning it all, but you can't be giving Drake jerseys. What is wrong with you?
Maybe the Drake curse is stronger in college basketball.
How long has he been riding with Kentucky?
He wore an Alabama jersey and Saban retired.
The Odds Couple with Rob Fisher, Lang Whitaker, John Roser, and CJ Hurt live Thursdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. Look at the clock.
Look at it.
Now let's wrap it up quickly.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
A whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused on a story from DailyMemphian.com that posted yesterday after we got out of the studio. Joe Cooper, former Memphis basketball player, stepson of former Memphis basketball player Rodney Newsom, had some not so great things to say about his experience with the Memphis basketball program. Like Bennett pointed out, I think accurately, some of it does come across as just like sour grapes, disgruntled former player, didn't get the role you wanted or expected, and, so yeah, of course, it wasn't a great experience. But there were a couple of things in there that I thought if you're a Memphis fan, you'd rather not read. One, that, after the season ended, he called Penny Hardaway, texted Penny Hardaway, trying to get in touch with Penny Hardaway to see, what the future held, and couldn't even get a return text or phone call from his head coach. Perhaps there's a great explanation for that, but it's hard for me to imagine one just sitting here. Maybe not the biggest deal in the world, but also not the greatest look in the world. Beyond that, it was just the quote where he said, we had ego problems and character issue problems and scandals within the program. And it was hard. And you just don't like hearing somebody reinforce what a lot of people already think about the Memphis basketball program, which is that, it's not running as smoothly as you would like for a high-profile basketball program to run. There's been multiple investigations and scandals and suspensions and players leaving and players coming and players leaving and then coming back. And Just a lot of odd things constantly happening within the program. And here's a guy who lived it every day who says, yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Perhaps it's just disgruntled former player stuff, but it sounded like a little bit more than that. You can read it for yourself, dailymemphian.com.
What's today's biggest game?
I think we're going Stanley Cup final tonight.
Okay.
It's the Panthers and the Oilers. We're going to do it at the Rogers place. It's in Edmonton, Alberta. The Panthers lead the series 3-2. This is a closeout game. That's game 6. It's game 6. And the Panthers lead it 3-2, so they got a chance to close it out in Edmonton tonight. And if they aren't able to do that, then on Monday, we're taking it back down to Sunrise, Florida for the best 2 words in sports. Game 7. Tonight, the puck is dropping at 7 o'clock. You're going to be able to watch it on ABC. Florida, you can get them at even money. If you want Edmonton, they're minus 120 on the money line. How are you going to act?
You know what? I'd love to have a game 7.
I would too.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Sure.
You could talk me into a game 7.
Yeah. Featuring Connor McDavid.
That's what I was going to say. That they always say you don't give Connor McDavid a game 6 and a potential game 7.
Do they say that?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Okay.
No, in all seriousness, he's one of the best players in the league. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Edmonton.
Bennett?
I'm gonna go Edmonton.
Bennett's gonna lay that 120. He's taking Edmonton. Your record's 122, 128, and 4. You're negative 19.6 units. But maybe tonight's the night you get it turned around.
I wish you would have given me Orioles Yankees yesterday.
My God, they jumped on them, didn't they?
17-5.
They jumped on them.
How about that?
I saw Yankees fans. I saw Yankees fans
mad.
tweet. Oh, they were real mad.
And they're mad because we hurt Judge.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Didn't he homer again though?
No, didn't he break his hand?
No, I thought.
Was he back?
I thought I saw something. What did I see? Judge returns with home run. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so he homered.
Well, they're mad. They're mad that we threw at him the other night.
Well, you shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't do that. You should rise when you see Aaron Judge, not hit him. You should all rise.
I do like Aaron Judge.
He is awesome. He is awesome. It is awesome. I've been in Yankee Stadium when he homers. It's awesome.
Yeah. I've seen him hit 2 home runs in a game.
Yeah.
Yep. In Baltimore. Yep.
He is I'm the king of going on the road to watch the Mets and seeing other people's best players. I seen Shohei homer, seen Mike Trout homer, seen Miguel Cabrera homer, Aaron Judge homer. Buddy, I've seen so many all-time greats homer against the Mets in my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, tonight, Edmonton.
Go Oilers.
Go Oilers. That's what he's saying.
What are we watching on TV?
SmackDown, 7 o'clock. Fox.
Oh, I'm all the way back.
I hadn't talked to you about it because I wasn't here on Monday.
Clash at the Castle
was good.
Legit, dude. You know what? And it's something that I should have known because of how it was in Lyon for the one before that. Like when they go to these other countries, man, they are fired up for WWE to be in town.
But like the whole show was like the Cody Rhodes.
It was amazing.
AJ Styles thing was great.
The Scottish fans had the greatest chant that Cody Rhodes, Cody. I was singing that all weekend, dude.
It sounded like it was straight out of what's my show with my soccer coach? Oh my God!
Oh, Ted Lasso.
Yeah, they were chanting.
I never saw Ted Lasso.
They were chanting like it sounded like a Ted Lasso chant.
Yeah. No,
Roy Kent. It sounded like a Roy Kent chant.
I'm back because we got Money in the Bank coming up, right?
You're gonna have to talk to somebody else about that.
That's our next pay-per-view on the schedule, and I love me some Money in the Bank.
That's how Damian Priest became senior Money in the Bank.
Dude, Money in the Bank rules. You give me ladders, I'm in.
I like ladders too.
You give me ladders, I'm in.
I like ladders too. Hey, I think I'm back too.
Yep.
Clash at the Castle was a party.
It was fun.
Tonight, CM Punk is expected to appear. Cody Rhodes will address the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
This comes after Drew McIntyre quit WWE.
Oh, he'll be back. He'll be back.
7 o'clock tonight on Fox. I'll be tuned in.
What's the best thing we've read?
Well, it's part story at dailymemphian.com about Joe Cooper and his year inside the Memphis basketball program. If you haven't read that yet, find it dailymemphian.com.
What's on tap next week?
Next week.
Big week.
Oh, it's draft week.
Big week.
It's NBA draft week. First 2-night draft in NBA history. Don't know why we're doing that. Don't know who said, you know what we should do is make this 2 nights. I don't know why anybody decided that. Probably a television executive.
You know what? As someone that loves drafts, I'm going to give it a shot.
What they should have done? Do the lottery on Wednesday.
That's what they should have done. You're right.
do 1 through 14, and then call it a night. Let everybody celebrate that. Come back, we pick up with 15 because these are still relevant players that matter. Second round, nobody cares about it. All right? Nobody.
Yeah. Although second round players are becoming more relevant than ever before in this league.
Well, you know why it's going to work this year?
Because of Bronny.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll be the Bronny show.
Yep.
The Bronny television
Watch
show.
someone take him in the first round. That's you want my bold take on the draft. Someone will take him at the end of the first round.
No.
Watch.
Do you see what Bill Simmons said?
What?
He wants the Celtics to take him. Just to do it, just to mess with LeBron. Just take him and just set him on the bench forever.
That'd be hilarious.
Now the Lakers are going to take him with the 55th pick. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to take him, and they're
because he's not working out for anybody. Yeah.
So like, why? Some people are like, well, Golden State. I know Golden State likes him. Well, like Golden State's gonna draft Bronny James after Rich Paul wouldn't even let him come there.
Right.
And then what? To put him on your bench and just be a distraction and people always
asking about it.
It's not worth it.
Right.
I go back and look. I was on record. You know what I said? If I'm USC, I wouldn't take him. It's not worth it. I said that before he ever went to USC. I would not take him. If I were Andy Enfield, I would just say, I don't want to be in the Bronny James business. I don't think it's going to go well. I don't think it's just not going to go well. And it obviously didn't go well.
Yeah.
So I don't know why anybody would pick him other than the Lakers. And they have the 55th pick, and that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
With the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the LA Lakers select Bronny James. And then he'll go sit on the bench next to his dad until his dad retires, and then whatever happens. But that's what we'll be doing next week. NBA draft. I can't wait. Enjoy your weekend. I'll enjoy mine. Meet back here Monday at 10. Till then, be careful. Be kind, be good, rep your hood.